This is week 3, corridors and pylon grading, where we take more advanced steps to create a surface on AutoCAD. So what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna run through it and go over the steps that we will do in class together. This is an example of a site plan that includes just a simple main road with a cul-de-sac, 5 mansions, and really big driveways with a right-of-way, sidewalk, curb, and a nice decel lane. So the very first step that I am going to do is NC and copy this center line. That is my X reference site plan. I can just bring this line live into my surface. If I try to click on any other line, it'll just select the external reference. So now that this line is live, I am going to go ahead and create an alignment out of it. And then we want to make sure that the arrow is pointing away from our tie-in point. It doesn't really matter what you name this alignment. I'm just going to call it main road. I'm sure the company you're working at or will work in the future will have a standard that you're going to follow. But that's the beauty about the class, is that we're just learning how to do design, and we're not too concerned about all the details of presentation. For presentation, that'll probably be in the future, another class that we will start teaching. But for now, we're just trying to focus on mainly how to get things done. I do not like this style, so I'm just going to go to basic. No. I would stick to propose. I can't see anything. Hold on. Sorry, I'm probably going to cut this out. Alignment labels. Just go ahead and apply. Maybe I'll leave it in. I don't know. So we have our alignment here. And the next step would be we're going to create a profile using that alignment. So when you click on that, this menu is going to pop up asking what surfaces you want to throw into that profile. There's only one surface right here, which is our existing ground. As you can tell, we have existing topography right here, and we're trying to manipulate the existing ground so we can build on top of it. Right here you have about 4 feet of elevation difference running through the house. Really doesn't make any sense. You want the house to be flat. So there's definitely plenty to manipulate that we need to change. I mean, look at this house over here that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 foot elevation difference. And we will show you how to grade that later on. So I'm going to go ahead and add this surface. The style is already in existing ground, but you can tell there's many other styles that you can select from. I'm going to go ahead and stick with the standard that Autodesk already provides. All of this is Autodesk styles. I'm not using any of my company styles, and you're gonna see a lot of it is kind of ugly, but it'll do for now. You can change the profile name here. I am gonna go with the profile view, and then the station should be automatic, profile view, height automatic, and then we can just go ahead and create a profile. I like to, and you can tell this is a really big surface, put it out to the side, and I want to be able to see the model and the profile view at the same time. So I'm going to change the viewport configuration to 2. As you can see, you can do 3, 4, and get really crazy. I don't recommend doing 4. I think that's a little extra, but if you want to go ahead and be extra, that's fine with me. So right here you see we have our profile, and this line right here represents our existing ground. So as you can see, it's pretty flat, and a good way to see what's happening, I like to turn on station tracker. And then you can see right here, here's our 0, is the existing ground is pretty flat, and it starts dipping down. There is a low point right here, and then it starts creeping back up. Now, as you can see, it's not really covering the cul-de-sac. It just stops right here, and our alignment stops right here. I want to tie into this existing road. This road is out there, it's real. I can't change it, I can't raise it, I can't lower it. So I have to tie in to that existing road, which is my biggest constraint. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and grab this and just use extension and plop it at the middle of the existing road. As you can see, it does a little bump up and it comes back down. And then I also want to cover the cul-de-sac and control the grading here as well. So I'm going to take this and extend this out to about right here. I typically like to change the configuration of my profiles to a different style. Let's see how I could do that real quick. If you're unhappy, for example, I think this is pretty dramatic. We're talking about an elevation difference of 322 to 324, and it's showing me almost 20 feet. Not 20 feet, but 20 units, let's say. And it's just, it dramatizes what's really happening. You think this is really diving down deep, where I promise you it's not that steep. So what I'm going to do is change the style, and then you don't have to do this. I'm just doing it for my own sake because I am, hold on, and then we're going to change the profile view and then the stations. I'm going to bump this up to 305. I'm sorry, bump that down to 305 and then bump this up to 360. That way I have a lot to play with, maneuver, and this accurately represents what's going on. At least it's a little more accurate, as we will see in a second. So the next step that I'm going to do, I'm going to start drawing in my road. So I'm going to come here to Home, Profile, Profile Creation Tools, and select this profile right here. The name doesn't matter too much. You want to make sure you're in Design Profile. Again, there's a lot of different things. Go ahead and click on Design Profile if it's different. And just go ahead and do a complete label set. So this will pop up. And I'm just going to go ahead and start from here at the very beginning. Now I said this existing road is our biggest constraint. So I am just going to follow as best as I can up until right here. As you see that this existing road right here stops about here and here at the radius return. So I'm going to come here and plop it about here. Here I feel confident. Now I can start manipulating and drawing what I want to draw. So I am going to go ahead and try to match the EG as close as I can to see what my percentages are. As you can see here, this is 0.54%. This is going up 1%. This is 0.71% and 1.37%. This is nothing, right? Honestly, you will see a lot of the municipalities and different jurisdictions that you work with, they'll probably say, look, you cannot go any more shallow than 1% because the water is not going to drain whatsoever. It's going to pool and it's going to cause stormwater issues. So, sorry, I'm a little bit OCD and I like this to show how it's supposed to show. So as you can tell that really this is too flat for my liking, and I know that this will be majority fill because I can just read the existing topography, and this is a high point here. This is diving down and going all the way down to this low point here. If you can kind of tell, this is the top of a mountain and it's going downhill at a moderate slope. I don't think it's going too fast, but looking at the topo, it can seem like it's going pretty fast downhill. But anyways, this is downhill and we're trying to create a nice little flat area right here to build on top. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to cut a lot on this side and we're going to fill more on this side. And since we have to fill all of this and cut this side only, I can tell that we're gonna be more fill than cut. And if you watch my other video, we can do a quick exercise and just see, okay, how much do I need to lower the road and raise the road if we are cut heavy to make sure that the earthworks are balanced. I know by doing the previous exercise that this site, if I just follow the existing road as close as I can while providing enough slope for drainage, that I am going to be fill heavy. And I need to lower this proposed road so we're balanced. So what I'm going to do now is take this point, just lower it. You can also click on this and this green circle will show this. And as we know, we cannot change this 1.09 and this 0.54. So I'm gonna lock the first one. You can tell it shows a nice little lock, which is useful. And I'm gonna lock this one. And do I lock this one too? Okay, yeah. So I locked a lot of them and now, so yeah, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and go with 0.275 and I'm going to raise this at 2.5. Oh, I'm sorry. It should be minus 0.75 and this should be 0.25. There you go. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to add a sag. And if you read the code, especially here in Atlanta, if there's a grade difference of 2% or more, so let me pull this back up. This right here shows me the grade change. Typically, if it's more than 1%, you're gonna need either a sag or a crest to smooth out the change in grade. And I'll show you what that means. So I'll click the first entity and I click this one. I type in K values. Other companies might type in curve length. Other companies might not even care. And so you just type in whatever and then you fix it later on. I promise you want to go ahead and use K values. Type that in at either, here in Atlanta, what I'm used to is either 12 for a crest, 26 for a sag. The difference between the two, a crest is a high point and a sag is a low point. So sag will be 26. And that will satisfy a lot of the code requirements that we have to adhere to. So now you can see, instead of just this diving down and coming back up, it creates a nice curve for the design to be smoother. So I feel pretty happy about this road. I got this tied in and I also need to add a crest here since this is a high point. So I come here, I select this entity and I select the next one and then the K value will be 12. So no solution available. What that means is that I don't have enough room here to add a crest. So what I am going to have to do is first unlock this point. And as long as I keep this 0.54%, I'm okay. So I can just do this and create more distance here so that curve will fit. Now let's try it. 12. Did it work? There you go, it worked, nice. So right here, I double check. Got a lot of crap in the way. Normally you will have two monitors and you can move this to the other side, but since we're recording, I have to fix everything on one side. So right here, this is the end of 0.54, and then it will start ramping up to this percentage. So all of this is not 0.54, right? It's going up, 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 up until it reaches negative 2.94. So right here, I can see that it's 0.54 after the radius return. So I am okay with that. That's good design right there. So I'm gonna close this out. I locked it. And then you can use this, it's fine. I was trained by somebody who likes nice even numbers. So I'm actually gonna pop this back up, and I'm going to take this and I am going to raise it a little bit, even though it is what it is. I like it at, there you go. Now it's at 2.75, 2.5. We can go ahead and continue on. So the next step, now that I finalized the profile, I love it. Mwah, it looks amazing. I am going to go ahead and build a corridor, finally. This will come up. I like to call it corridor A. We're going to select the alignment off the drawing. This one, layout 1. Okay, I think that might be right. I guess I didn't name, my bad. I should have named this profile. And the assembly, we don't have an assembly. So actually I'm going to cancel this real quick. I need to add an assembly. So you can just type in tool palettes. Again, this is Autodesk, generic stuff that they add. Assembly, we'll do a basic assembly. For the sake of our class, we're not going to use these. And our sidewalks are 5 feet. So yes, you can see here, this is our sidewalk, this is a curve, and this is the asphalt, the road, and it has a beautiful cross section that our corridor is going to follow to a T. So we have our sidewalks. We're going to change this width to 5. And then our rows are 20 feet wide. And we're going to change this to 10. 10 on one side, 10 on the other side. So now that we have our assembly, we can go ahead and do what I was trying to do earlier on. So select this, layout 1, main road, layout 1, basic assembly. You can change the name of the assembly, you can change the name of the profile, and then we should be good. This is going to pop up. I'm just checking the horizontal baseline matches, assembly looks good, stationing looks good. This frequency, I'll show you why we changed it. So we're just going to go ahead and press OK. And then we're going to rebuild a corridor. And this pops up. Now, this style and the magenta with the thick lines, it's pretty horrible, but we'll stick to it. You can now see that the corridor, it does, these 2 lines right here is the curve. Here's the edge of pavement. You can see that it aligns pretty well with our site plan because our site plan was done correctly. And you'll be surprised once you start doing this job, how many people just mess these site plans up. You can't really blame them because they have to make a lot because the client has to accept it, and then the government who's approving these preliminary plans also has to like it. So they're making 10, 15 versions of the same site plan, and they make a lot of mistakes. But since our site plan was done correctly, and as you can tell, it aligns pretty well with our corridor. I'm going to go ahead and take this and drag it to the endpoint. This, I'm also going to come here and drag it to the endpoint. So the very next step is I'm going to take the corridor properties, surfaces. You're going to click on this one. It's going to create a surface. I'm going to call it corridor A. And then we're going to come here, links, top, press the plus button, check this off. Overhand correction will be top links. You go to boundaries. You want to create a shrink wrap boundary. And what that means, if you don't create this, and your contours are going to be all over the place. This is going to tighten up that surface to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. So you take a little shrink wrap, we're going to press OK, we're going to rebuild the corridor, and it created a surface. Now, I don't recommend doing this because you want to see your regions, you want to see your corridor, and I promise you the company that you will work at will have a much better style that the corridor and all these lines that you're seeing are not as intrusive. I can barely see my surface. I have to click on it like, oh, that's where the contours are at. I don't feel like dealing with it. So for the sake of this video, I am going to go ahead and freeze it. Now you can see that a surface has been created. And what we're gonna do to finish this off, as you can see, it follows our profile pretty well. This is our low point. It's ramping up right here. And yes, this is looking pretty good.